Hi everyone, it's Erin again. Today is Thursday, the 22nd of June, and we are 5 weeks since surgery. We have got one more week to go. We've got 7 days before our 6-week appointment, and I really can't wait. I am so very over being in the sling. So, since last time, I had that horrendous cold and it knocked me for an absolute six. I spent all day last Friday in bed sleeping. I slept 11 hours the night before. Um, I've still got a little bit of a runny nose left from it, but other than that, I'm all good. Thank God. I couldn't have dealt with that as well as everything else. So, um, Saturday, I had one of those didn't really consider the whole situation moments. My sister was driving me between my dance schools, and I had to sit behind the driver's side. And unfortunately, without thinking about it, the driver's side seatbelt comes over the top of the shoulder, and that was pretty painful. And then on the way home back to my parents' place, I I swapped. I was on the other side, but my brother-in-law. It might have been their car, but it wasn't the smoothest of rides, and I was pretty sore by the time I got home. Sorry, itchy nose. So that was pretty sore for a couple of days. I had a moment of absolute frustration up at Mum and Dad's. I was trying to fold this blanket that I've been using every time I've been up there, and it's quite large. I reckon it's taller than me, and I'm 174, 75, so that's about 5'7", 5'8". So the blanket's taller than me, and I was trying to fold it by myself, and I couldn't. I was getting incredibly frustrated. Mum asked if I wanted a hand. I said no. I got more frustrated, and I know she didn't mean to, but Mum giggled, and I lost my shit. I threw an adult temper tantrum. I was so frustrated. I know she didn't mean it, and she was only offering help, which I probably should have accepted, but, you know, not good to laugh at someone who's struggling. So, yeah, that wasn't fun. I really hit a really low point because I was so frustrated, and I felt like it's a blanket. I should be able to fold this, but nope. No, it wasn't having any of it. So, nothing really major's happened. I haven't done anything shoulder-wise too silly. I went back to dance on Monday night, sort of. I engaged in the stretch session, which obviously they did beforehand, and that was, oh God, that was so good just to be able to move some of my body, because I've been very shielded and extremely guarded, and I still am. But it was nice to do some things without my shoulder hurting, so I found that quite positive. I did engage in a little bit of the dance class. I actually did get up and do some stuff. I didn't change out of my runners into my jazz shoes to avoid the temptation, but it was good to get my brain a bit of a run through and see how I coped doing it one-handed, because there's a lot of choreography that I'm not going to be able to do still, and probably for a long time. So to be able to do it one-armed was very reassuring to me. I felt really, really quite good after that. It's just been a pretty standard kind of week. Work and my singing lesson and work and home and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, nothing too huge for week 5. I find if I accidentally jolt, I get a bit of pain, or if I'm incredibly clumsy, which I am, I tend to run into things that will give me a bit of grief. I have started a bit of testing at my arm, and it's discouraging for now. I can't, so I can extend my arm full completely out, and if I start with it resting on my legs, I can't lift my arm up. I tried even with assistance with my left hand to raise my right arm a little bit because I just died to stretch and it just wouldn't happen. I didn't force it at all. I was just testing, just giving it a bit of a see, and yeah, nothing. So physio is going to be fun, and I can't wait, but yeah, I'm nervous about it. Had a bit of a bad night last night. I couldn't get comfortable with my shoulder, but yeah, it's not been too bad since I've been back in bed. I'm looking forward to starting physio. I'm now frustrated with the sling. I'm incredibly frustrated with what I can't do. So I'm very, very looking forward to it. Pain is, unless something happens, I jolt it or I bump it or something like that, it's not really a thing. If I let it hang, my arm kind of feels sometimes a bit numb, but I think that's just still part of recovery, really. I'm not overly concerned with it. Still doing all my physio exercises like I should. Yeah, I guess so. Week 5, there's nothing really much to report that's really not been said before about my frustrations and, being annoyed with everything. So, like with what I said earlier on, I think it was in my first video, that really long one. If anyone actually got to the end of it, well done. This is just my recovery. This is a bit twofold. This is something for me to look back on in 12 months' time to see how far I've come. But it's also just, I guess, anyone who's prepping for this surgery or has had this or a very similar surgery, just to understand that they're not alone. And I guess this is my recovery. So don't gauge your recovery next to mine. I won't gauge mine against anyone else's. I'm me, and my recovery is my journey. And I did a lot of research on YouTube, looking at other people's stories, getting ideas. Girls, my best idea for bras is to get cotton crop tops, like cotton elastic ones. They've been a lifesaver. I haven't worn a proper bra in 5 weeks, but these cotton crop tops are the best thing since sliced bread. I can get them on. I'm relatively supported, so I suggest them. I suggest singlet tops a lot, or baggy kind of t-shirts that you don't have to maneuver too much to get on and off. And that's kind of why I suggest the singlet tops, because you can really stretch them. Pajama pants, get comfy. And if you're going back to work, I guess just consider what you're wearing. I've got one top that I love that I can't wear. I can't get it off. I got stuck a couple of weeks ago. So I guess that's about it for this week's video. Next week, I am looking forward to reporting what my surgeon has said. I'm really excited to see him, and I hope he has nothing but good news for me, that I can get out of this bloody sling and start physio. Super excited. Can someone remind me of that when I'm abusing my physio, please? I won't abuse them, just yell and sook. Anyway, so that's it for today. See you all next week. Have a great week, guys. I'm out.